Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Today we are going to present a new report of the StepUp StartUp projects. For that, we have with us Anna Domínguez.
Hello, everyone. My pleasure.
Do you want to introduce yourself a bit?
Yes, first of all, I want to say thank you for having the opportunity to be here. Participating in this report has been an amazing experience. I'm Anna Domínguez, and I have the privilege of leading two different business reality. I am a CEO and co-founder of Etrivium, a startup, and also I am a director of people and culture of Grupo Q. This allows me to understand quite well, I hope so, the needs and the challenge of organization face.
Thank you for being with us today. Okay, first, before getting deep into today's topic, we are going to present the report focused on the opportunity for AI to enhance business support processes. First, I would like to introduce briefly the project. The StepUp StartUps initiative is a project of the European Commission when we have been, during the last couple of years, analyzing the European startup landscape. We have had two different focuses. First of all, we analyzed the startup ecosystem in general from different perspectives. We have published reports regarding the fragmentation of the European ecosystems, the spin-off landscape in Europe. Also, we have analyzed the regulations in Europe. The report titled Ease of Doing Startups, and we end up that line of work by publishing a report focused on the venture capital industry. After that, we focused on analyzed the artificial intelligence ecosystem in Europe, and for that we have published several reports analyzing talent in AI in Europe, the business support processes and the opportunity for AI, also public services, a report that we presented here last week. And recently, last week, we published our last report until today, which is focused on open source AI models. And during this week, we will publish also a new report focused on dual use AI, and we will close all these reports by publishing in the next week, probably, the report focused on agentic AI. Well, with that being said, we will start getting a short presentation of the report and the main insights we have identified in the report. Well, when we talk about a company and the processes we see in a company, we can divide it basically in three main categories. First, core processes, the core activities of the company, management processes, and then support processes. This is the focus of this report, and in particular, we are focusing on human resources, HR, finance and accounting, and customer services. Why? Because after looking into different support services, when we saw a greater opportunity for AI right now, due to the room for improvement we have detected in the data, those sectors, highlighted among the others. IT, for obvious reasons, is a sector where AI have a very easy way in. Well, when we look at what these sectors are looking into when applying AI, what we have seen is that in three business support areas analysis in the report, there are certain common patterns that emerge, such as the focus on automation, on data-informed decisions and experience improvement alongside their function-specific priorities. So, for example, customer service is trying to get faster response times, cost savings, and higher customer satisfaction. Regarding accounting and finance, greater accuracy due to the nature of this support function, and also improved forecasting and automation. And for HR, data-driven decisions and a better employee experience is a key issue that companies are trying to solve through AI. When we look at deployment in worldwide, we have seen that China is basically leading the way in this. The European Union, basically 30% of the companies have deployed some solutions, and the rest are exploring. But China, with 50% of the companies, is leading the way in deployment and application of artificial intelligence worldwide. In the case of the EU, what we can see also is an uneven progress among all the countries that form the European Union. Most of the companies are currently piloting or researching AI with limited active users. There is a clear interest. It's obvious the impact and the benefits they can get, but we see that Nordic countries are leading, with Denmark and Sweden as the main exponents of this trend, but also, for example, notably major economies in the European Union, such as France, Spain, or Italy, report lower adoption. When we look at why this is happening, it's obvious that SMEs, small and medium enterprises, faces bigger challenges when trying to implement artificial intelligence within their support functions. When we look at large enterprise, bigger than 250 employees, what we see is like in 2024, 41.2% of the companies were using AI technologies. When we look at small companies, that figure is 11.2%, and medium is 21%. So there is obviously, given that the biggest kind of company in Europe is SMEs, that's what limits the ability of Europe to improve this kind of implementation. And that happens no matter the process we look at. If we look at even core business processes and business support processes, consistently we see through the data that small enterprises lag behind medium and large enterprises in the implementation of artificial intelligence. But what we can see also is that business support processes outpaces core business processes. Why? From our point of view, what we see is that European companies prioritize this kind of support functions because they find a way which are less complex and more conducive to rapid and visible result. It's an easy way to obtain quick wins that not only improve their efficiency as companies, but also allows them to build the necessary skills, the governance structure, and the data foundations before getting into complex functions like core business processes. Well, when we look at some vertical industries, we have been focusing the analysis since the point of view of the EU's Apply AI strategy. The Apply AI strategy is basically the strategy recently launched by the European Union in October to enhance the competitiveness of strategic sectors and strengthen the EU sovereignty technology. It aims to boost AI adoption, basically focusing on SMEs and medium-sized enterprises. And while looking into these sectors, which are basically healthcare and pharmaceuticals, mobility, transport and automotive, robotics, manufacturing, engineering and construction, climate and environment, energy, agri-food, defense, security and space, electronic communications, and creative and media sectors. But when we look those sectors aggregated, we can see that business support processes are ahead of core businesses in terms of AI implementation and application. This is interesting because looking specifically at those sectors, we see that those that lag behind the most are those sectors with bigger presence of SMEs or with the lower level of digital maturity, which makes sense because AI in a way is more complex than digital general technologies. And those companies are setting the baseline through business support processes because it's an easier way to increase their readiness capabilities in order to go to complex tasks. It helps them to lower the risk of on a control environment. It lowers the complexity and it faces an issue in integration, and it creates quick wins that helps them to learn and reorganize and redesign the company in order to tackle them different processes. When we look at the investment trends, what we focused basically on accounting, human resources, and customer service. And what we have seen is there is a greater trend in investment for AI solutions in the three sectors we have looked at. And not only that, the share of core AI startups receiving funding is also growing in the recent years, with always the peak on 2024. But to finalize in the report, we make a deep dive on these three verticals we have analyzed, so you can look at it then. But we closed this report by making a workshop where Anna had the opportunity to participate also. And we identified there several key barriers that must be faced or addressed through policy. In this case, inaccuracy, security, and ethical and privacy concerns are one of the key aspects highlighted by the companies we involved in the workshop, and also data security and IT readiness, along with the lack of necessary talent and skills, and also for technology and also for legal and compliance are some of the barriers that, from a policy point of view, we need to address in Europe, and particularly with the focus on SMEs. Given that SMEs in Europe are between 60 and 70% of employment and gross value added, that baseline where there is more room for improvement to increase productivity and economic growth through the implementation of artificial intelligence solutions. Well, this is a quick summary of the report. And in this QR, if you scan it with your phones, you can access directly to the webpage of the project and access there all the reports, including the one we just presented. Well, Anna, now, well, you were a participant and a contributor to the report. So, from your point of view, what trends do you see in how SMEs are adopting AI in these support functions?
Well, what the support shows, and we also observe practice, is that SMEs start adopting AI in processes that have clear organization, I have to check my notes, with clear operational and business impact. Adopting AI start with simple automations, rather than complex AI systems. There are typical examples in adopting AI, such as customer success, to handle routine interactions, finance, as the report shows, for basic controls, and human resources administrations to reduce typical and repetitive tasks. So these views are very attractive because are easier to understand and easier to implement because their impact in productivity is easier to measure. So this is the biggest point.
That one of the points we also saw in the report.
Yeah,
that
I agree.
Measuring the impact of this kind of technology is essential for understanding the success, and that helps and increases the interest of companies on those technologies. And regarding, I think you just also mentioned that, but quick wins are a very easy way for companies to start getting into those technologies. From the functions we just saw, or we just analyzed in the report, HR, accounting, and customer service, which one of those functions do you think creates or offers the most quick wins?
Well, the quickest win, in my opinion, comes usually comes from improving how people can access to internal information and understand the internal knowledge. So when people can access to the right information quickly and make sense of it, have an immediate impact. So less time lost, so fewer mistakes, better decisions. Training for me is another fast win because AI can accelerate creating content and adapt it to different roles using internal knowledge instead of materials starting from scratch.
I agree with that. In many cases, we have interview for the report. Knowledge management was also one of the most relevant, or the most easier, or most mentioned by the companies regarding the use of artificial intelligence. Yeah, it's very very close to day-to-day business. And from your experience at Etrivium, if you have to choose a single barrier, the most relevant for the implementation of artificial intelligence, what would you say?
In my opinion, there are two main barriers, cultural and strategic barriers. On the cultural side, there are many SMEs that still remains
a struggle to...
not a struggle, still remains, I don't see the resistance to change. Sorry, there is resistance to change. You know what I mean? This typical. Well, we have always done this in that way mindset. This is a very bigger stopper. And on the strategic side, many companies do not understand what AI is. What is the real impact of the AI? So they struggle to decide where to start. So for me, they are cultural and strategic, rather than technological.
Yeah, probably the strategic part is very related to the lack of skills in the workforce of those kind of companies. And in the part of the cultural is something that we saw also in the data, because we mentioned SMEs, and we also mentioned the lower level of digital maturity.
Yeah,
and usually SMEs are correlated with lower levels of digital maturity in some sectors like construction or other relevant sectors.
Without a clear strategic SMEs, the adoption of AI remains difficult to scale. Very difficult.
Yeah, another of the things, getting more into the part of the recommendations, and another thing that we found when we were interviewing companies were that the relevance of linking the challenges that they found themselves into implementing this artificial intelligence, and what we saw in the recommendations, or what we wrote in the recommendations, is that we need to link policy to specific challenges to make easier for companies, particularly the smallest one, to implement artificial intelligence. So that's one of the things of the recommendations. And what we also saw there is that though policy in Europe should be focused particularly in those sectors with highest level of SME participation and both at the lowest level of digital maturity. Their construction is significant, and also cultural and creative industries are significant. One of the main findings of the report to that end is that we need to make some kind of standardization processes to make easier part of the implementation of artificial intelligence. Another one is related, of course, to the ecosystem in Europe, to those startups like Etrivium working in this field, and we need to, as we mentioned in the report, Europe is looking for some technological sovereignty, so we need to diminish the reliance on other countries' technologies and solutions, and also we need to focus on risks, help those small companies to manage and tackle and deal with the risk, obviously privacy, data management, and so on, related to this technology. And finally, one of the other findings we highlighted in the report is related. As day goes by, we see that there are increasing complexity on AI solutions. I mean, for example, agentic AI is getting hyped each day, and that seems sometimes like a black box. Yeah. Where you do not have a clue where everything comes from. So managing those complex technologies and making transparent and accountable for the companies are using it to improve their customers' experience is also a very relevant issue that, from the policy point of view, it must be also addressed. So, if we were to choose, for example, Anna, over the next 12, 18 months, if you have to choose a couple of priorities in terms of policy in Europe, what would you choose?
Wow. Over the next 12 and 18 months, I think the priority should be helping SMEs to move from experimentation to a structured adoption. So it requires clear guidance in use case, support to build internal skills and manage the change, and also funding, to access to funding for pilots, for training, etc.
Yep. In fact, one of the
I know I have, say, 3 points. For me,
no, that all are even mixed, because one of the things we saw in the report, or one of the main words that we could highlight, is scaling up, and not only in terms of funding for startups, but also in how you move from the pilot phase to the real implementation of the projects. It's something that we saw also in the report we presented last week in the public services, where it was even higher. That basically there were not implementation. There were a huge number of pilots, but given that step, the next step is the more complicated for the companies.
No, I think public institutions and ecosystems, innovation ecosystems, play a key role by providing trusted support to all of this.
Okay. With this small discussion, we have reached our goal today for discussing this report. Probably now, with Christmas, we will have a dessert break, I hope, but we will be back after Christmas. We are probably presenting another report from the project. So I wish everybody, and of course, happy holidays. So thank you all for listening to us.
Thank you all of you. Bueno, eres muy amable. Me he quedado con la última frase.